In every case scenario, even when they have abused someone else, they will claim that they are the victim. Hi, I'm Maddie, and welcome back to the Anti-Alienation Project, or welcome if you're new here. Here in my project, I talk about all things related to a certain type of severe child psychological abuse that I went through for 20 years, starting at the age of 9, currently known as parental alienation. What is parental alienation? Well, parental alienation is when one parent, usually an angry parent, often during a custody dispute or a divorce, but not always, manipulates their child to reject their other loving parent. This is a healthy, loving parent-child bond that is destroyed by an obsessive need by the pathogenic parent to have the child all to themselves, isolate, control them, and use the child as a weapon and deprive the other parent of that relationship. It's a really severe form of abuse that leaves long-lasting impacts on entire families, especially the child. I figured out the truth about 2 years ago that I had unjustifiably rejected my dad for 20 years. Since then, I've been rebuilding my relationship with him, speaking out about this form of abuse and trying to alert society to the long-lasting damage it causes. Today is going to be a TikTok reaction video. I love doing these. A lot of younger kids and teenagers, young adults are on TikTok. I think by doing these reaction videos, maybe I can tap into a new demographic to be able to wake up other alienated children, adult children, to the reality that they've been living in. So let's just get right into it.
If you grew up with emotionally immature parents, you may have noticed that you have a lot of trouble showing big emotions that you identify as being like bad or irrational. You never want to be the person that appears like you're flying off the handle or like you can't handle yourself because you have spent so much time watching people like this around you not be able to handle what's going on in their life, and you may have had to step in and try to help them manage that. So in adulthood, you create this like sense of like, I can always be in charge of my emotions and I can be super competent and not ever get out of control. And that often results in just you suppressing everything and not showing any emotion. When you're trying to avoid appearing emotionally immature, you end up not being able to feel any of your feelings or to express them.
That's relatable. Yeah, I think that when you grow up with emotionally immature parents, you have to kind of re-raise yourself in adulthood. You have to learn how to regulate your emotions because your parents haven't taught you that. And I used to be that way, like nothing bothered me. I would never cry, never really process through anything I was going through. But I've gotten better at that. I do think that she's probably right about this. I know that we had a panel discussion in one of these videos, and we were talking about how a lot of us find difficulty crying in front of our kids because our emotionally immature parent or parents, whatever the case may be, cried in front of us so often, and we remember what that was like to have to comfort a parent often when they're at the depths of their despair. And so we take it so far, or I do sometimes, I take it so far to where I will never cry in front of my kids. And I know that it is healthy to cry in front of your kids every once in a while. We're human too, even though we're parents, and they need to see that we're okay with expressing a sadness and our vulnerable emotions too. I know that. So you got to swing back to the middle and land in a middle ground somewhere.
Covert narcissists are sneaky. They come off as insecure and quiet and timid, but they're manipulative and they have a severe impact on household members or really anybody that they have a relationship with. Sign number one, victim mentality. This individual doesn't care what they did to get them in the situation they're in, or if their behavior got them there. They're the victim. Woe is me, poor me, I'm sad, I'm lonely, the world is against me and it's not my fault.
Absolutely. Oh gosh, it's very, very rife, and it is a tool that a lot of alienators use. It's not just having been victimized for these people and feeling like stuck or feeling hopeless. That's not what it is. It's displaying themselves in a way constantly that gets other people to pity them. And this is a manipulative move that is used to make other people do things for them and behave in ways they want you to behave. When it comes to alienation, yeah, this includes tears. This includes getting the child to feel bad for them and frustrated at their targeted parent, angry at their targeted parent, afraid of their targeted parent, and feeling bad for them. They need the child to believe that they're the victim so that you are the perpetrator. There's almost like a delusional degree to this victim mentality for the truly personality disordered people, because no matter what, like she mentioned, despite everything that may have gotten them the certain outcome that they are complaining about, or even if they hurt someone else, they can make it into a situation where they're still the victim because they're upset at the person's reaction or whatever it may be. In every case scenario, even when they have abused someone else, they will claim that they are the victim. Hard to understand unless you've known someone personally, but there is no line in the sand to be drawn when it comes to the victimhood mentality and the personality disordered individual.
Number 2, they know everything. You can't tell them anything. You are not smarter than them. Nobody is. So even though they play victim, they have no problem telling you that they're the smartest person in the room. I have a master's degree. I don't need therapy. I could teach whatever a therapist would try to teach to me.
Yeah, that is very true. Oh my gosh, she's spot on so far. Yeah, that's very true. Caveat, it gets really scary though when they actually are intelligent. Yeah, they know they're smart, right? But we also have this other type that is actually smart. Some covert narcissists are so covert, they don't want other people to know how smart they are. So they claim that they're stupid and they try to make people believe that they're stupid, even though they're really smart. When it's your parent, one thing they do is act like they know you better than you know yourself. I have kids and I know I don't know my kids better than they know themselves. I don't want that to be true for them. These people.
They have in their world. Number 3, a complete lack of empathy. So they can fake it. Again, especially when it feeds their narrative of being the victim, they can fake empathy, but they don't truly have it. They don't have the ability to connect to other human beings. They're a shell of people.
Okay, I know she's talking about covert narcissism, but we also have borderline personality disorder, and I'm not sure about this. So if you're a clinician or if you're a researcher, leave in the comments below, like, what's the case for borderline personality disorder? Do they have the ability to have empathy, or is that just narcissism? Because I know you can have like narcissistic personality disorder or borderline personality disorder, and a lot of alienators have one of those disorders, but if narcissists can't feel empathy, can borderline personality feel empathy? And then if you have a borderline personality disorder with narcissistic traits, can they feel empathy? Like, where's the cutoff? Because this is confusing as a child of somebody with a personality disorder. I have these moments where I really feel like she felt bad for me. And like, I really do feel like she cared. It's not so black and white for me.
They're incredibly jealous people. They're incredibly envious of individuals that have the ability to make connections, and they'll destroy those connections every chance they can get.
Whoa, she's right on the money, right there. Yes, incredibly jealous of their children too. Jealous of their children being loved by other people other than them. Jealous of other people loving their children better in a more healthy way than they can. An effect of having a parent like that, what I started to do is I started to believe that I didn't deserve good things, especially when I worked hard for them. Like, I've always been a really goal-oriented hard worker, especially in school. And so I would set goals and work my butt off in school for them. And then once I achieved my goals, I wouldn't be able to feel happy for myself or proud of myself. And I think this is because throughout my life, even when I was a child, though my mom might have said the right things and come to the graduations and pretended to be supportive, I could pick up on her jealousy, her envy, her dissatisfaction. Whenever I achieved something, whenever I had something great happen in my life, or I had happiness, she was not happy for me. She was not sharing my happiness. Just always feeling like never good enough. That's been the takeaway of having a parent like this. It's just you feel like you're never good enough, despite what you do, despite how hard you work.
So if you're talking a child and they have a deep connection with another parent who has the ability to make the connection with them, that covert narcissist will do everything in their power to destroy the connection between their child and the other parent.
Parental alienation, severe child psychological abuse. That is why they do it. It all makes sense now. In fact, I think that jealousy and envy is part of the reason why I was the only child in my family to be targeted. If you haven't heard much of my story, sorry to the people who have, because you're going to be hearing this again, but I'm one of 5 kids. I have 4 younger brothers, and my mom targeted me. My 4 younger brothers have always had healthy, loving relationships with my dad, and she did not alienate them. It was just me. And I just think it was a lot of projection and jealousy. Watching my dad love me when my dad wasn't loving her upon being divorced probably filled her with rage and envy, jealousy, I can imagine. So yeah, she's right.
Or guilt, guilt, guilt. So just like I said about trying to destroy relationships, it's all about them, and they're going to guilt their partners, their friends, their family, their child for having any sort of relationship, independence, or life outside of the covert narcissist. They are supposed to be the center of the world. They depend on their child, their partner, etc. for supply, and that's your role. You are an extension of them. So they will guilt you every way possible for having any sort of independence. You see that with a covert narcissistic mother. They feed this narrative to the child and to anybody that would listen, other parents, coaches, teachers, etc., that the child is dependent on them.
That's another reason why they do medical abuse, so that the child actually can't live without the parent. They need their care. They need their assistance. They can get to such a medically fragile state, they can't leave home.
The child needs them because that's what they need to feed their own ego. Number 5, being 2 totally different people, public versus private. If you ever see a covert narcissist drop
So confusing for a child.
mask, they don't know you're watching. You won't see the person you see in public, the loving, affectionate, kind, cheering, caring individual. You'll see a shell of a human being, somebody that is void behind the eyes, somebody that has no action, reaction, or interaction because their mask is down. And that's the person that those that live in the household with the covert narcissist see all the time.
Even in the home, though, they are very selective on who sees behind the mask. Even in the home. So I had no one to report to. I had no other parent that I was going to tell. Hey, mom did this crazy thing. Mom did this really mean thing. I was never going to tell my dad anything. My brothers would. So I've seen behind the mask probably more often than I've seen the mask. It became so normal to me that I wasn't scared anymore of that.
Number 6, they will use your needs, specifically love, against you. So your love language is affection. They're going to withhold affection and intimacy on purpose to punish you whenever you are not the person they need you to be, or whenever the center of attention and the center of the world is not revolving around them. And they do the same thing to a child. Mm-hmm. They will punish a child. They will guilt, manipulate a child, and withhold love from a child in order to feed their own ego and get their supply of the child then clinging and attaching to them.
Sick. First of all, the child's left feeling like it's all their fault and they're responsible for their parents' emotions. And then secondly, they don't know they're being manipulated. I didn't know I was being manipulated. I just thought I had upset my mom so much that she couldn't stand to look at me. She needed to be alone. She wouldn't talk to me. She'd just be in a room for however long. And I'd be feeling so much guilt and shame and sadness and frustration and confusion. And then I would have to apologize and placate her and, make her feel like she's the best mom in the world. Just like this woman said, give her supply. And now that I can see it from an adult point of view, I'm like, wow, that's really sad. It was like she was the 13-year-old and flying off the handle with the hormones or something, and I was the adult having to regulate her and make sure she was okay. This is not one instance. This was day in and day out. And I was, so yeah, it's absolutely true. And another thing they do is they deprive the love or the love language of, and they know their children, they know their love language. Or when their child does something right, does something they like and that they want to approve of, they'll love bomb their child. Let's skip ahead. I know I only did 6 signs, but I want to just keep moving on.
I'm a child of a narcissist. Of course I thought I was an empath, when in fact I'm actually hypervigilant, because I had to learn how to predict people's feelings and thoughts so that I knew what behaviors they were going to do to keep myself safe in childhood. What was that noise?
I'm the child of a narcissist. Of course it's my fault when something goes wrong. Sorry, am I in your way?
I'm the child of a narcissist.
This is really funny. This is Cody, brain and trauma healing.
Of course I don't ask for help. I don't want to be a burden.
I'm the child of a narcissist. Of course I'm so terrified of rejection, I'm never going to tell you that you do something that hurts my feelings.
I'm the child of a narcissist. Of course I need everybody else's opinion before I make a decision for myself.
I'm the child of a narcissist. Of course I do everything for everyone else and I never say no, no matter how hard it's going to be on me.
I'm the child of a narcissist. Of course I think I'm the laziest person that ever existed, even though I'm close to burnout at all times.
I'm the child of a narcissist. Of course I need everybody else to be happy before I'm happy so that way I can feel safe.
I'm the child of a narcissist. Of course I'm going to end up in a toxic relationship in adulthood, because it feels normal to me.
No.
I'm the child of a narcissist.
I have a feeling that these were actual children of narcissists because they get it. Yeah. So I'm glad that I did that video after the effects, the signs of a narcissist video. Okay, so the last one that I'm going to play here is just for a little bit of hope. And I really love this TikTok. It's by Break Up Buddies on TikTok.
You want more peace in your life? You will be infinitely more peaceful when you decide not to waste any more. You want more peace in your life? You will be infinitely more peaceful when you decide not to waste any more time arguing with people who don't understand you. Be okay with being misunderstood, because people can only understand from their level of perception. And you have to understand that no argument in this entire world is worth damaging your mental health.
I agree with that. I like that. I think that's a good reminder for targeted parents, especially because there's so much misconception. Like, people don't understand how your kid could stop talking to you, reject you, without you actually doing or saying anything that would merit that. So it's important, and it's important for me too, and other child survivors speaking out and putting boundaries in place with their families to remember that it's okay to be misunderstood. You're going to be misunderstood. And it's important to get the validation from yourself instead of people around you. That's all for this video. I hope you found it helpful or insightful in some way. Please give it a thumbs up to get it in the algorithm. And make sure to subscribe and hit the little bell, notification bell, so that you are notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you for your support as always, and I will see you next time. Bye.